Previously on Search4Hurt, the team immersed themselves in the world of obstacle racing and spent some time in a facility to practice their technique. Why was getting their technique right so important? Because they're going to be doing this for 24 hours, suffering pain and fatigue for their last event of the series.
Medic!
We're out here at Dargle Farm, about an hour and a quarter west of Sydney, for the final event for Search4Hurt for Series 2. We have the True Grit, military-inspired, 24-hour obstacle race. There's 30 obstacles per lap, 10.5 kilometres per lap, and they're going to be out here all day, all night, and they don't finish until 2 p.m. tomorrow. Some people are out here doing it in teams of 2, 3s and 4s. But Leah and Pap and a few very, very hard individuals are doing it solo. There's a reason that we've chosen this to be the last event for Series 2 of Search4Hurt. And over this episode, you're going to see exactly why. And the main reason is because it's going to hurt the most.
This monumental final challenge will take Pap and Leah through each lap, containing over 10 kilometres of rough, mountainous and muddy terrain. On top of that, and standing in their way, 30 obstacles. These will range from slippery rock faces, kilometres of muddy water channels, tyres, trenches, steep inclines, sandbags, monkey bars, ropes and traverse ropes, ramps and great walls. And we'll even throw in cold conditions. The aim, complete as many laps of this rigorous course as possible in 24 hours. Pap and Leah have arrived and are getting their supplies set out and ready, and start heading to the start line, which is filling up fast. No doubt nerves are high with the task in front of them. Many of these competitors are going to pull out, but some will make the full 24 hours. All standing here on the start line are very brave candidates indeed.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Bang, the gun went off and we were off.
From 2 p.m. Saturday to 2 p.m. Sunday, non-stop, and slowly but surely, only the toughest will be the ones left running. But all are giving it a go to test their limits.
So not long into the race, I noticed that Pap was putting everything in.
Strategy from the get-go was to go hard and go fast and trying to set some distance between Leah and myself.
He'd said that I was going too fast in the North Face, and I just felt, no, this time he was really trying to show me what he had.
So I noticed that through the first lap that it was a runner's course. I found that they had some distance on me in the run, and then I closed in really close after climbing up a rope or putting a 30-kilo sandbag on my back. That really was, it gave me a bit of an advantage.
Pap reaches obstacle 26 of 30, the pontoon bridges.
All right, we've got Pap going over the floaties at the moment. Oh, and he made it one go, all right. Pap's leading Leah on the first lap, so we'll see how long that lasts. Let's go, Pap, hit the monkeys, mate. How you going, bro? Good, bro. You all right? Yeah, looking a bit wet. Good stuff, mate. Let's see how he takes it after Mick's advice last month. Good job, mate.
The big fella chooses the muscle technique as shown by their mentor.
That's all guns. Good job, mate. Good job. I can't even see Leah. Look out. The early leader.
Pap pulls into the pit after his first lap.
2 salt tablets, please. A baby food.
And he wastes no time in getting back out there. He's still concerned Leah is right on his tail. And well, she is.
All right, so here comes Leah. She's looking at about 7 to 8 minutes behind Andrew at the moment. She just went over the floaties. She's just about to hit the monkey bars.
You don't want to get too wet this early.
She'll be actually the first female to hit the monkey bars, so we'll see how her grip strength goes and see if she makes it across. There we go.
Leah's swinging across quite smoothly and no signs of huge muscle fatigue yet. All Leah has to do is use her momentum to swing herself to the last bar. You don't want to get too wet this early.
Good. Good. That should be interesting later tonight, Leah.
Oh my goodness.
So if you do fail an obstacle, you have to do 10 burpees. Now, when you've got 30 obstacles per lap, things can get awfully hard on the burpee front.
Leah hits her first pit stop. Matt pulls her up to find out her thoughts on the course so far.
It's gonna be a lot harder and a lot longer than I thought. Yeah, all right.
You'll be right.
Leah wastes no time in the pits and gets straight back out there, trying to catch the big fella. With the rain set in, it's starting to make some of the obstacles extremely slippery. Leah finds it hard to get grip with her feet on this one, and that puts more pressure on her arms to be able to pull her up the ramp. Night is on the way. Pat pulls into the pits. He's now completed 2 laps and is definitely starting to feel the hurt already.
Oh, mate. 2 laps down for like 3 hours almost. And, 21 hours to go.
At the end of lap 2, my knee was already hurting, so I just shoved all the painkillers down, the anti-inflammatories. I got to keep this lead on Leah as long as I could.
21 hours to go. Woo, let's get it done.
It's a touch before 6 o'clock. The rain hasn't stopped pretty much since the start.
Come on.
The guys are out for their 3rd lap. It's going to be a really tough night out. I know that Pat said he'd like to get around that 12 lap mark. In these conditions, it's going to be a big call. I'm heading home to go get some sleep. I'm sure I'll get the lowdown off the guys for what happened for the night.
Night falls over the course, and with that, down comes the temperature, which doesn't make wading in the water very much fun. Pap has just finished lap 5. It's now 11:03 p.m.
Been going for 9 hours, and I've done 50 Ks. My ultimate goal is to get 100 Ks in 24 hours. So we've got to keep cracking on.
He heads back out into the cold, still determined to reach his 100-kilometre goal.
They've gotten to midnight. It's a hell of a lot wetter and colder than the North Face. So they have been to this mindset before, but Andrew's actually in front of Leah now. So I'm thinking that Andrew's on a bit of a high. He's thinking, I might have her here, whereas Leah's just chugging along, getting it done.
I'm on my 5th lap. So just over 50 Ks now, 9 hours and 20 minutes in. My head torch is dying. Red light's flashing, so I've put on the low setting, and I've just got to hope for the best. And I've just started this freaking 5th lap, so my head torch dies. I'm stuck.
Leah finishes up on her 5th lap, exactly 1 hour after Pap.
Lap 4 and 5, it was already really cold outside. I needed to put my wetsuit on. It was so hard When your skin's wet, your body's obviously inflamed, and I had bruises and cuts and chafing everywhere. Ran out to do the next lap, but all I could feel was it rubbing on the rope burn, actually from the traverse rope, and instantly needed to turn back into transition and get Vaseline. So I was in there rubbing this Vaseline all down my pants. I don't know what people around me thought I was doing, but pretty glad I did that because it made a huge difference later on.
Lathered up in Vaseline, Leah heads back out on the course to face water temperatures as low as 2 degrees. We catch Pap crawling his way through a trench, and he's come to a realisation.
I'm on my 6th lap now, and majority of the runners are wearing wetsuits. It's because they're smart.
I suffered without a wetsuit probably until about 3 a.m. in the morning and decided it was definitely time to chuck the wetsuit on because I was freezing.
As soon as that core temperature drops through being, drenched for hours and upon hours, lap after lap, that temperature just drops, and to get it to come back up is so difficult, even when you're running around.
The early hours of the morning have now arrived. The pace of the competitors has slowed down considerably, some even calling it quits until the morning. But there's athletes that push on through all the negatives their bodies and Mother Nature is throwing at them because they have one goal: to test their own limits of the human spirit. And that goal still sits over 12 hours away.
The ground's slippery and difficult, so yeah, it's a real war of attrition out there, and enjoyable in a kind of sick way, I suppose. But yeah,
always.
We'll see how we go. We've got to get through to 2 o'clock tomorrow. So, well, today now at least. Yeah, 2 o'clock.
Part of a relay tonight. That was my 2nd lap of the night. The furthest I've ever run is 14Ks, so I've just clocked 20. I am definitely feeling it everywhere. Every part of me is aching.
Pap heads back out for lap 7. He's expected back at 4 a.m. 40 minutes after Pap heading back out on the course, Leah is coming close to the pits, but not without some difficulty. She's facing an obstacle on an obstacle.
Ow, what have I done? I got to the traverse rope. I mean, you've got monkey bars out there, you've got cargo nets. I'd been clinging on to everything and just couldn't do it anymore. So I needed to figure out another way of getting across the traverse rope. I can't even figure out if that's the right way of doing it. The problem was, I hadn't actually done this since Spartan obstacle race last year, so I actually hadn't tried it for at least a year and a half perhaps, but I had no idea what I was doing. What I decided to do was Rogaine technique, where you jump up on top of the rope and hoist yourself across. Somehow I managed to land myself on the rope so that I could just pull my body across, but it was a massive effort to figure out how to do it and how to do it right.
The guys aren't going to finish until 2 p.m. So even when the sun does come up, they've still got another 8 hours on their feet. So you're fighting fatigue, you've been going for 18 hours, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, you go back through the pits again to get another feed. All you want to do is stop.
The sun's rising and it's a cloudy morning. It's 7:30 a.m. and Pap is pulling into the pits looking a little worse for wear.
Just finished lap 8. It's 80k done. Got minimum 2 more to go. And I'm hurting hard. My knee's blown up. Oh my God! Holy McMolly! I'm so sore. The whole course is saturated. Like, it just feels like you're running self-sand the whole time. Actually, well, I've peed in my wetsuit probably about 6 times on the run, and I'm contemplating actually pooing in my wetsuit too. Because there's no way that I'm gonna let a number 2 ruin all this hard effort, so.
So lap 8, I was running in 5th position. It gave me a lot of motivation to keep pushing hard, and I was obviously pushing my body to its limits, especially with my injuries. And there was moments where I was almost in tears, feeling it, just big, heavy breathing and just feet low to the ground, and it was really a struggle to just keep moving forward. And
I've completed 80 Ks. My main goal was 100 kilometers. I'd be wrapped with it. I've got 6.5 hours left. And, I've gone so hard. I dedicated this race to my two sisters who are going through a lot of stuff at the moment, and they inspire me every day. So I thought I'd try to do something for them. So that's why I've worked my ass off today. So I hope it pays off.
He heads out still confident he'll reach his 100-kilometre goal. 20 minutes on, Leah is back on the traverse ropes, and this time handling it a little easier.
It's not comfortable. Hello, baby.
Go, baby.
Oh, I gotta get straight back out. I'm still gonna leave this on.
Have
actually.
a hang on.
Really getting sore arches, and it's making it hard to pick up the speed. I'm trying to catch Pap. Looking at where we are, there's 6 hours left and I've done 8. What did I want to do originally? 10, so hopefully that's achievable, but it all just depends on how your body holds up. I knew I needed to pick up my pace. I wanted to at least see Pap. He was doing really well. I was actually just really happy for him that he'd been able to maintain the pace that he started on.
One of the easiest looking obstacles usually ends up being the hardest, the Great Walls. No matter how mean you look, you have to nail your technique. After the break, one of our team members hasn't reached the pit stop, and we go in search to find out what's happened. And the results are in, and it's a very proud moment. Word has it that Pap hasn't reached certain obstacles in time, so we sent out a drone to find him, and we stumbled on what seemed to be a very broken man.
The camera crew caught me at my lowest point. I was at the mud mile and I was crawling through the water, and I've been there for a fair bit of time, and I pulled myself to the side. I was just laying there in all sorts. I was in so much pain. My legs and ankles were throbbing. My arms are tired from crawling through the mud, and I was seriously contemplating just quitting there.
I can't move my legs. I've done my knee and both my ankles are killing. And I was just swimming through this mud pit because I can't actually physically walk through it. Just so spewing about it. It's too much, it's too painful.
They just blew out. They got so much inflammation in there from so many hours on the feet that the physical soreness, the structural soreness, not muscular, the structural soreness just brought him undone.
If you're thinking Pap is going to quit right now, then you haven't been following Search4Hurt's journey. The big fella just doesn't quit. He's still determined to finish his lap, a truly brave and strong-minded athlete.
Like, that's a sign of a pretty tough dude, that's some serious strength.
It was the darkest point of the race by far, and I wouldn't wish it upon anybody of what I was going through. But I don't know, something inside me just kept driving me through, even though how ridiculous it was to swim that whole mud mile.
And he could hardly put one foot in front of the other, and when you're doing 2 kilometres an hour and Leah's doing 6, she's definitely catching up to him at a rapid rate.
Pap may be struggling, but the race hasn't stopped. Leah is closing the gap fast, and she's only moments away from taking over the big guy.
Managed to catch up to him, and then by lap 9, I was able to overtake him.
Now she's on her own mission. She's currently in contention to finish in the top 3 for females. It's game on, baby. Unbelievably, she doesn't stay for long and gets straight back out to complete a 10th lap. There aren't many who can complete 9 laps, but Leah's athleticism is truly shining right now.
Once Leah had overtaken Pap and put a good lead into him, she just kept moving forward. I think she was thinking that, Andrew might come good and he'll catch me, and she just kept knocking it out.
Pap, 20 minutes later, rolls in suffering damage to his legs. He's finished the race with 9 laps complete.
That's it, I'm done. 9 laps, I'm happy with that. I'm not going to go again. That took me
over 3.5 hours. So I was heading towards the finish line, obviously walking / limping, and you know, I didn't achieve my 10 laps, but I got 9. It was a solid 9, and I had people clapping me down to the finish line and people telling me congratulations for, you know, giving it everything I had. Everyone could see the amount of pain I was going through the whole experience.
Although the race still has 3 hours to go, Pap would definitely not have finished the next lap in time and decided it's enough for him. He's already run the risk of suffering major damage to his legs. Leah doesn't know Pap's exact situation and wants to maintain her lead and is out on her 10th lap. And she shows no signs of slowing down. Incredible, Leah.
Lap 10, I was really hurting. I had bruises and scratches everywhere. Got to the creek and you just can't run. Like, I wanted to make sure that I was still picking up the pace and putting everything I could in to get to the finish line.
Leah approaches the last few obstacles of the lap looking exhausted.
I was almost at the finish and had just one more obstacle to do. Everyone was just cheering me on. It was really quite an emotional moment. Ran to the finish line, felt like I was about to break down in tears. I was just overwhelmed. It was amazing.
You're number 1.
I feel like I'm gonna cry.
Always.
That was full on. I'm seriously struggling to breathe. I think that's the hardest thing I've ever done.
I reckon it might be.
Far out.
I was absolutely shocked. I knew how bad the weather was down there that night. It must have been so hard not to stop at the tents and the warm fire just for 20 minutes and lay down for a while, but man, it would have taken some serious willpower not to stop.
The 24 hours is up, and both Pap and Leah have completed the race to the best of their abilities. Guys, you should be extremely proud of your efforts. The results are in, and Pap crossed the line in 6th place out of the solo males, with a total of 9 laps completed. An amazing effort considering the injuries he suffered throughout. And Leah, meanwhile, is victorious in the female field, in 1st place with a total of 10 laps completed. This has been one extraordinary 24 hours for the guys and one incredible event to finish off Series 2 of Search4Hurt. Next time on Search4Hurt, we get up close and personal with the team to find out what they went through and what they've learned throughout the season. There'll be some great insight on what went on behind the scenes and a few laughs to be had as well.
Mad.
Oh, it's really full on, hey? That was insane.
Who was insane, that or the runner?